Hi, I'm David Donatucci with the Florida Institute of Performance. We're going to create a power production video, and really the essence of all this is simple, and I'll look at this in three parts. One is we want to isolate a particular muscle group, and in this case we want to work on the hip activation, more of your glutes, stabilizers around the hip region. Two is we're going to incorporate those muscles into a larger motion, such as more of like a hip hinging activity, something that's going to engage them more and involving them into a bigger picture. And three, we want to increase the speed. So we want to teach the body how to fire fast. So that's the essence of the whole thing. It's not one exercise that's going to increase power. It's a combination of a number of things. So first off, we want to isolate. We want to stabilize a particular area. We're going to work on your glute stabilizations. I'm going to pick out three exercises that I really like in terms of kind of working on more waking up the butt and kind of getting things in production. Jordan here has volunteered to kind of help us with the exercises. So I'm going to lay Jordan on his side. We're going to go into a 90-degree position. So we get 90 degrees of the hips, 90 degrees of the knees. Our feet are slightly elevated. We're going to go flat up against the wall. From here, we place the band right around his knees, and kind of lower on the knees, the better. Get you a little bit more resistance. We're going to kind of keep the hips into a level position right here. And all I'm going to ask Jordan to do is make sure this back stays rounded. He's going to raise his left knee up in the air, and we're going to hold this position. Some people call this clams. To me, it's just more of a sideline glute exercise. We're going to hold this for about 4 or 5 seconds. I want to make sure Jordan's breathing. We're controlling some things. He's going to lower back down. And we want to make sure and check that we're feeling some activation into his left hip region. Raise this up, hold. We want to again make sure the pelvis is tucked under, back's nice and rounded and flat. Hold for about 5 seconds and lower back down. I like doing about 4 or 5 reps on each side. So we want to again make sure that we get a good activation in through the hip region, and we get that glute to kind of wake up in this position. Pressing a little bit into the wall to kind of create a little bit more stability and holding that position. From here, our second exercise will be more of Jordan laying on his back. And we do more of kind of a hip bridge. So we still have the band in the same spot around the knees. We're laying things flat. And these two positions are really for more stable. We want to work on, we're taking everything out of play, keeping the person lying on the side. Only thing we really kind of have to feel is the glute. So there's no other external stability kind of going on. We're not worried about the abs right now. We're not worried about the shoulders or the feet placement. We're just got a nice stable position laying on the ground. Here, we're going to roll his hips under. So he's going to tuck his hips under. We have a slight lift off the butt, off the ground. He's going to press his knees apart. We want to make sure that the ball here, in this case the right foot, the big toe is still on the ground, and he's going to slightly raise his left foot off the ground. And then we want to keep this stable. If we see this hip dropping in this position here, or basically the hip rolling in any way, we're going to go back to a double leg position. We're going to roll the hips under, press the knees out, and we're going to hold that position as long as we feel stability in that hip. Again, we feel some activation within those glutes. Lower back down. The harder, the more complex way of doing that is tucking the hips under, press the knees apart, and we're going to go left foot, so we're going to take the right foot off the ground, hold position here. We want to feel a lot of activation within that left glute. Feeling that in there? Yep, we may get a little hamstring in there too, which I'm okay with at this point in time, but we're really trying to tie in that more of the glute position. Again, tucking the hips under, so the pelvis is now rolling towards the chest. Knees are coming apart. We're going to raise the left foot off the ground. That's okay, right foot here. We want to see it here. We can see that we want to make sure the foot doesn't roll out. We want to keep that instep in part of the foot staying flat on the ground. Come back down. Good. We're going to take that band off. So again, we start off with a sideline glute. We're just going to do basically a glute bridge. Now we want to work them into more of a standing position. So we want to incorporate what we've done on the floor to more of what they're going to get from their sport. So Jordan being a golfer, we're going to go onto the box here. Start on your right leg on the box. We want to do a single leg quarter squat. So I'd like to keep this here. I'm going to keep my knee in front of him. So I want Jordan to kind of bring his hips back. He's going to bend his knee slightly. We're going to hold this position right here. This should be similar to where his golf position. We have a flat back. We've got pretty good stability in his right hip. His knee, come back up for me, Jordan. We'll come back to that again. So go ahead and lower back down. We have hip, knee, ankle all in one spot. What normally happens is a couple things. One, as he comes down, either the knee comes too far forward, bring that knee forward for me. So now we get too much quad. Feel that more in the quad. All we want to do here is keep the knee more in line with the body. Good position, good stability here on the right side. I'm going to have you switch legs so we can see it more from the camera angle. So stay on your left leg. And again, the other part of it is we want to make sure that the hip, the knee, and the ankle are all in the same line. A lot of times this knee may roll in here, like that, and it basically kind of kicks the hip back out. So we want to make sure the stability is within that right leg. So we stabilize, we isolate a particular muscle group. Now we're incorporating into a bigger motion. Here, hold position, should feel a lot of that glute position right there, okay? Now, to incorporate this, I'm gonna relax you for a second, incorporate this more into a golf movement, we wanna work on a little bit of a torso rotation. So George's gonna go in the same motion. So we mastered the single position, or the regular quarter squat. He's gonna squat down, hands across your shoulders. Now, what we're gonna do here, turn the chest. Now we're creating somewhat of a backswing stability point, come back up. Squat back down from it again, rotate, hold, 1, 2, 3, and come back up. Usually what happens is, again, a lot of times is that hip may kick out, so go ahead and squat down. I'm gonna push you across a little bit more so that hip kind of kicks over a little bit. So again, we wanna make sure everything is stacked. And that's a loss of stability in that glute once we start kind of kicking that knee back out. The difference between golf and baseball for me, I'm gonna place this band around Jordan's shoulders. So instead of creating, so when you get that quarter squat position, instead of creating the rotation again, which in golf, all we really want to work on from a baseball standpoint is Jordan, like he's holding the bat right here, and he's going to push his hands away from his body. So now we have a little bit more of a loading pattern from the baseball position. So more of a hitter's position. Squat down. Jordan was left-handed, basically through here, and now we're creating that little bit of that loading pattern within the baseball perspective. So these are, again, exercises that we want to start with in order to be able to create hip stability. If you don't have great hip stability, you're not going to produce power because you got to be able to stabilize to the middle of your body, and then from there you can now transfer that to a lot of the exercises you're going to see later. Loaded, again, isolate it, incorporate it into a larger muscle group, and then increase the speed. That's the overall concept of our power production.